Okay, hope you can see the screen. So today we are going to start with DynamoDB. What is DynamoDB? What are the features in DynamoDB? Okay, so let me start with basics. Okay, so we are talking about DynamoDB. Before that, we have to understand what is NoSQL database or non-relational database. Till now, we have talked about relational database. Okay, till now we have talked about relational databases. We have seen MySQL, Oracle, Aurora, Redshift. All these are relational database where one table is related to another table. All the tables are interrelated. So why they are called relational database? Because mm, they are tightly coupled with each other. One table is related somehow to another table. But in relational database, there is one problem. In structural data, there is one problem. What is that problem? Let's say this is your table. Okay, now you add a new column. When you add a new column, you update the table. This extra space is taken where the value is not available. Still, your database will take that space, or you have to update a null value or default value. Let's say you update a phone number, you update your address, add a new column. Right now there was no column name as phone number, and you introduce a new column as phone number, but the record which are already available in the system, you have to update them also, either with default value that this record doesn't have the phone number, or some default values. Okay, so plus they are tightly coupled. All the data in the system is tightly coupled. Okay, they are tightly coupled means if you want to just update only one row, that let's say Parag Jain, and a value is there that he is a salaried person, but that only you want to update. You don't want to update any other column or any other record. Still, you have to introduce a new column, and you have to give a null value or default value for all the records. They are tightly coupled. Each record is dependent on another. Means if you want to set a new value for one record, you can't do that. You have to introduce that column to all the records. Okay, and that's the one problem. Second is it takes space. Whenever you introduce a new column, it takes space. And imagine you are working with thousands of millions and billions of records in the system. Just talk about Aadhaar card. There are millions of Aadhaar card detail are stored in the database. Take example of Amazon delivery address. So whatever you update your personal information with Amazon, previously if you remember, we have only option that at a time you can store only one address. You can't store more than one address. 10 years back, when you want to deliver something, you can just, for a single account, you can just have one active address. There can be no more active address or phone number because the database was tightly coupled. You have to provide only fixed number of columns. You can't add that column easily. If you're adding, you have to add the value for all the existing column. Okay, you have to update existing value for existing records as well. Now, That's where a new system, a new database came in the market, and it is called relational database. Okay, it is called non-relational database, which is altogether a different than relational database. Here, non-relational database is quite similar to your relational database in terms of name. Here we call it collection rather than table. We call it document rather than row. Fields means individual records. We call individual cell. We call key value pair. Okay. Now, how the data is look like in non-SQL database? Something like this. Now, you can check in your relational database. There is a header in the top. There is a header: serial number, first name, second name, surname, and gender. Now, in non-relational database, no SQL database, these values are written in conjunct with your value. ID, this is your roll number or ID. First name, surname, age, address. Okay. Now you will say, sir, writing in this way, how it will help you out? Let's take another example. So you can see right here, employee. You can see here employees. Employee ID 101, name is John, and here I can update two contact information rather than one. If I'm writing in this format, you can see in the second case, ID 202, name William, contact null, or you can remove all this value altogether. I will show you one document which I have created. Just a second. Yes. Let me know if you are able to see the notepad. So now you can see here serial number 1, first name Parag, second name Jen, gender male, similar to what we have seen in the PPT right now. This value, this one, right? Serial number, first name, surname, gender, right? The next record, this is your next record, that is same serial number, first name, surname, gender. You can see here. Third, first name. Till here it is all similar, but after this point, you can see there are four values, but I all of a sudden remove the surname from this. In the serial number 10, I'm not passing the surname. I don't know what is the surname of John. So why should I pass that value altogether? If surname is not present here, that means I don't have that value. I'm not storing that value in the file in my database. I'm not going to store surname equal to null. I will just remove that value altogether. So this record is not dependent on the existing records, or adding or removing a value, okay, will not impact any other record. So this is a way of writing or storing the data in no SQL, non-relational database. Next, this one, you can see I have added a new value called GST, which is not impacting any other value. And this record gives me all the information: serial number, first name, gender, and GST. Means these values are available with me. Next record, serial number 12, first name Modi, and GST. That's it. Only thing you will observe is I'm passing serial number. I'm not removing or adding serial number. Apart from that, I have removed even the first name. Why? In NoSQL database, you have to pass a unique value, and it value has to be present. You can call it primary key, a unique value. Okay, so in each record there should be a unique value. So only that value, if you are passing, that's enough. Apart from that, all the values are optional. You can add, you can remove, you can do whatever you want. But serial number or unique value, your Aadhaar card number, your roll number, which is unique in the system, should be present in a given record. Got it? So this is NoSQL. So this is the structure of NoSQL database. Okay, this is a structure of NoSQL database. This is a structure of relational database. That is a tabular format. Here you can see, if there is no value available for me, I'm not storing any extra parameter. So here I save my space as well. In this case, even it help in saving the space. How? Take example here. Let's say each cell has of 1 KB value. So here 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 multiply 4, it's 16 KB. File will be of 16 KB. Now if I introduce a new column, then even though here there is no value, the system will generate some blank value that is called null, or it's a blank value. So here 1 KB multiply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 into 4, 20 KB. And here I am wasting 1, 2, 3, 3 KB of storage I am wasting. Okay, just to introduce one value, I am wasting 3 KB. Imagine that if you have a system of 1 terabyte and you are introducing a new column, the data will increase from 1 terabyte to 1.1 terabyte. In that 1.1 terabyte is blank value. So 1 terabyte, now new value is 1.1, and this zero point 0.1 is just a blank value in the system. That much amount you have generated to introduce a new column. You haven't updated anything in the system. Okay. Okay. Sure. So this is NoSQL database. Now coming to, yeah, in industry the NoSQL database are very popular. One of the open source NoSQL database is MongoDB. MongoDB. It's a NoSQL database, non-relational database. Okay, it's open source. Now, if industry is working on NoSQL database, that means Amazon also has to provide some database which is equivalent to NoSQL database, right? Then only people will adopt AWS. They will work on AWS. That's where Dynamodb comes in picture. That's where Dynamodb comes in picture. Dynamodb, what is Dynamodb? Basics of Dynamodb we will cover now. Dynamodb. Dynamodb is fast, flexible NoSQL database service for all the application that needs consistent single-digit millisecond latency at any scale. It's a NoSQL database. DynamoDB is no SQL database. Second, it's serverless. If you're creating a DynamoDB in cloud in AWS, it's a serverless. You don't have to provision the storage, underlying storage and underlying hardware. It's your the amount of data you're putting, you will be charged. The moment you use it, it then only you will get charged. Otherwise, if you are not using the database, you are not going to get any charge of it. Unlike RDS, in RDS you have, if you're not using the system, still you will be getting charged because you have provisioned it. You have created a instance underlying hardware that is EC2 machine. But in DynamoDB, there is no underlying hardware, that no there is no EC2 machine. It's a serverless application. DynamoDB enable customer to offload the administrative burden of operation, scaling, distributing the data to AWS so that they don't have to worry about hardware provisioning, setup, and configuring throughout capacity planning, replication, software patching, or cluster scaling. So you, similar to RDS, you don't have to worry about the administrating task of DynamoDB. All is managed by Amazon. Underlying hardware provisioning, software upgrade, patching. Okay, even the scaling. So DynamoDB is highly scalable. That means it will automatically scale up as per the demand. It is fully managed database and supports both document and key value data model, JSON, HTML, XML. Its flexible data model and reliable performance make it great fit for mobile web, gaming, tech, IoT, and many other application. It's very fast and fully managed. So this is the structure of NoSQL database. Okay. Now, basics of DynamoDB first of all. So in NoSQL database or in DynamoDB, in DynamoDB, table items and attributes are the core component. A table is a collection of item, okay, and each item is a collection of attribute. In your structural database, table is a collection of row, and in each row, it's a collection of columns or cell. Here we call items. Each record is called as item, and each value in the item is called attribute. The data is stored on SSDs. The data is automatically replicated across multiple availability zone in an region, providing built-in high availability and data durability. So your data is not stored in a single availability zone; it is stored in multiple availability zones, just like S3. So it's highly available, and we don't have to provision any availability zone. We don't have to select any availability zone. We have to only select the region. It's a region service, not a availability zone service. It's a regional service. Consistency, eventual consistency as well as default consistency. How fast you want to read the data. If any change in the data, it will be updated in little time. Eventual consistency. If you want that data to be updated immediately, then you can go with a strong consistency with extra charges. Okay. Now let me show you in the console about how you can create the database, or how you can create your DynamoDB database. Okay. So this is your dashboard of DynamoDB. This is your dashboard of DynamoDB. Here you can see that all the tables which you have created in your DynamoDB. Check the region in which region you are working. I always emphasize you to check the region before you are doing any activity in your AWS account. So right now there is no table in my Mumbai region. You can click on create table. So here we are directly creating the table. We are not creating any database because DynamoDB is serverless. Just directly create a table. You have to give a name. Let's take example of student. Student. So student. Okay, we have to pass a primary key. We have to pass a primary key or partition key also. So you can give roll number. It should be a unique value, right? It can be number, it can be binary, it can be string. Okay, so number. Now all these things I will cover in some time. What is the table settings? But before that, just create right now. So you are creating a table. It will take a couple of seconds, not more than that. So you can see your table is created. If you click on students, you can see here it has gone to instead of tables. If you click on tables, it will show you the list of the tables. If you go on the update settings, you can go inside a table. These are the property of your table. Okay, and if you want to go inside and put a record item, then you have to click on explore table, list of the table, update items. This is for updating your property of the table. Then explore item, it will show you the data inside your table. So right now I have 0 records, that is items. Let's create one item. Now you can see here it is asking me with a roll number, only one information. So I'm passing roll number as 1 and I'm also passing name as Ram. Okay, and if you want to pass any other information, you can save that as well. So you can see one record we have entered. Let's create one more value. Now if I'm creating a new value, still it will ask roll number. So I'm passing the roll number. Now if I pass the same roll number again, what will happen? Let's see. Roll number 1 is already existing in the system. And if I'm passing the same roll number again, you can see it is giving an error that value already provided, already exists. So you can't give the same unique number, that is roll number. Roll number is a unique number in our table. Apart from that, you can have the same name. All the other values can have same values. You can see Ram Sharma. Ram Sharma was already present, but the unique value should be this primary key should be unique. Let me change it to Sham, and even I can add a new value record. You can see now here in the record number 1, this value is not present at all. If you click here, you can see the value mobile number is not present. So there is no data available. But in this case, you have added a new value. I have introduced a new value. Add a new record. Even I want to create a new record. Roll number 3. Okay, I'm just passing name. I'm not passing any other information. That's it. So you can see I haven't passed surname. I haven't passed the mobile number as well. Unique key and any other value. You can even introduce a new column again, new collection, that is class 5. You can see each record, each item is independent. It is not related to other value. You can use it as a relational, as a structural database as well if you are passing all the values. But the main important thing is it's a NoSQL database where all the records are independent. They are not tightly coupled with any other records, any other items. But in relational or structural database, all the tables are tightly coupled. All the information are tightly coupled with each other. But in relational non-relational database, they are not tightly coupled. You can introduce any column, you can remove any column. Clear? Now, as I said, DynamoDB, you don't have to provision any underlying hardware. When we created a table, did we provided any CPU or RAM to our table? Here we didn't provide any RAM and CPU to our table. That means it is serverless. If I'm using the table, if I'm accessing the data, then I will be charged. So you can see here, read capacity consumed this much. So the more you consume, the more you will get charged. There is a capacity units. Okay, one is read capacity and other is write capacity. Okay, so the capacity unit you consume, according to that, it is going to calculate your charges. If you are not doing anything, then you will not get charged. Okay, for data it's very minimal charges. So it's in a, if you are storing a 1 GB, 2 GB, 10 GB data, it will be very minimal data as compared to any other database, and it's highly compressed as well. So if you are storing millions of record, it will be 1 GB, 2 GB, not more than that. Okay, consistency, eventual consistency across all copies of data is usually reached within seconds. So as similar to S3, if your data is stored in multiple availability zone, and if you're updating anything, it might take some time to replicate the data in other availability zone. Reading or read after short time should return the updated value. Strong consistency return the result that reflect all the writes that receive a successful response prior to the read. So strong consistency means if you write anything in one availability zone, it will immediately copy to the other availability zone, and you will get the latest record if you're reading. DynamoDB support ACID transaction. That means if there are multiple tables available and you want to update all the tables together, let's say there are 4 tables, okay, and if you want to update all the 4 tables together, it is called ACID transactions, or you should not update any one of the table. So DynamoDB transactions provide developer automaticity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Read or write multiple items across multiple table as a all or nothing operation. So if you, let's say you have 4 tables and you want to update all the 4 tables together, then DynamoDB supports that. That is called ACID transactions. If any one table fails to update, then all other 3 tables will be rolled back. I can give one example on this, how this ACID transaction works. So let's say there's a bank 1 and bank B, bank A and bank B, and you are client A and client B, which has accounts in bank A and B, and client A needs to transfer money to client B. Initially, he has a balance of 100 rupees, and client B has a balance of 5 rupees, and client A transferred 20 rupees to client B. So there will be table for client A, there will be some table for client B, right? When this transaction happens, actually, what initial will do, what in the behind the scene, what will happen? In finally, when A transfer a balance to B, his balance will updated as 80 rupees, and the balance will update as 25 rupees. But behind the scene, what actually happens is A will give 20 rupees to bank A, that's client A's bank. It will deposit 20 rupees to bank A. Bank A will deposit 20 rupees to bank B, and bank B will transfer 20 rupees to client B. This is behind the scene. There is no direct connection between client A and client B. So when you transfer your money, this is a real scenario. This is the actual scenario where client A needs to transfer the client B, then the bank will do transaction between them, and they will update your record as well. So you can see there are 4 tables involved. Balance of client A, balance of client B, that is table of client A and table of client B, as well as bank tables will be there. So all these 4 tables should be updated simultaneously, or if anything happens, let's say if this table is not getting updated. Okay, this table is not getting updated. There is some issue and this table didn't got updated. Should we update all the tables or should it roll back? Ideally, it should roll back. Why? Because the transaction has failed to update one of the table. Now it will give you inconsistency. That you that's why it should update all the tables or it should not update any single table. That is ACID transactions. Dynamodb supports that as well. Generally, it is used in banking. Okay. Financial transaction fulfill the order to underline reads and writes, prepare and commit. You can update up to 25 records or up to 4 MB of data simultaneously. Now, this is important, the primary key. So we talk about primary key, that is it should be a unique value in your item, in your record. So DynamoDB required one primary key. Okay, a primary key. DynamoDB store and retrieve data on the basis of primary key. And why primary key is important? So when you search your record, you will going to search on the basis of primary key, on the basis of unique number. When you create a table, in addition to table name, you must specify the primary key. We have seen that. The primary key uniquely identify each item in the table so that no two items can have same primary key. Always remember, in NoSQL database, unique value is important, primary key is important, they should be unique. No two values can have same primary key. So there are 2 types of primary keys in DynamoDB. One is partition key, other is composite key. It is a combination of partition key plus short key. So there are 2 types of primary keys in DynamoDB. Okay. There are 2 types of primary key. One is called partition key, another is called composite key. It is combination of partition key and short key. Okay. Now let's understand what is partition key first. So partition key is has all the property of your primary key. It should be unique value, okay, just like customer ID, personal ID, product ID, email ID, vehicle number, and so on. Value of your partition key is input to a internal hash function which determine the partition or physical location on which the data is stored. Now, why it is called partition key? Why it is called partition key? So in general, according to your partition key, your data will be stored in different location files. Let's say there are in Dynamodb behind the scene, the data is stored in 4 files. Now, if you enter a new value, let's say 20, so to determine which value to be stored in which file, Amazon use this partition key. Okay, so let's say Amazon is storing the data like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on. So according to the value, it is storing the data in different files. Why? To when you search the data, it will know that this record, this item is in this file. So if let's say here your data is stored in this partition, your record is stored in this partition. That means when you search, Amazon will know that your value, your item is in this file directly. Why? Because it use internal function algorithm which determines in which files to be this record should store in which file, and while searching this record, it will know that which this data is available in this which file. Okay, so it doesn't have to scan all the 3 files to search the given item. Amazon Dynamodb use internal hash function which determines which record to be stored in which file. Okay, if there are a huge number of files are present, it will difficult for Dynamodb to search in each file. That's why it is determined, it is predefining that this record will be stored in this file, just like your library. In library we give the partitions, right? That books with A will store in given partition, books starting with B which will be stored in different partition, different racks. Similarly, DynamoDB stores data in different partitions. When we want to search any record or item, it will direct us to in that particular partition. Okay, you can just compare with the library. If you are using the primary key as your, if you are using partition key as your primary key, then no two item can have same partition key. So you can see here, personal ID is unique. Personal IDs is unique. Next, now composite key. There are some cases where the primary key might not be unique or your partition key might not be unique. Let's take example. Let's take example. Okay. Now the roll number which we have till now been using as primary key. Okay. So generally roll number starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this. Okay. Now, initially it was fine when you're creating a roll number, but what if there's a class 1, uh, class 1, class 2, class 3? Okay, or you can say standard 1. Yeah. So first standard, then second standard, third standard, fourth standard. In this case, all the students will have the same roll number. In each class, the roll number will be starting with 0, 1 to 20, something like this. Can I use the roll number now as a primary key if I want to store the data of all the students? In each class, the roll number starts with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10, 20, 30, 40. Will I be able to use the roll number as a unique key in my data? No. So here I can't use partition key as my primary. This happen when your one column is not unique. A single column is not unique. But let me say instead of class A, let me go with the class 1 A, B, C, D. Let's take it as a section. Section A, section B, section C, section D. Right? So I can write like this: A and roll number 1. Now focus on these composite values. Are they unique? So this is my partition key, and this is my sort key. So in my data, if my one value is not unique, I can introduce another value that is called as sort key, where the combination of these two values can be unique. So instead of one value or one cell or one column, we can introduce two column and make them as a unique value. That is called composite key. As the name suggests, it's a combination of two keys, primary key and sort key. Simple. So Dynamodb supports that as well. User ID plus sort key, timestamp, artist and song title. It's a very good example. A single singer artist can have multiple records, multiple songs. He or she can would have song. Single artist would have multiple song, and a single song can be sang by multiple artists. एक गाना 10 लोगों ने गाया होगा, मतलब मिलके गाया होगा, और एक बंदे ने 10 गाने भी गाए होंगे. So to give a unique value, you should have a combination of this artist plus song title. Unique combination, the item in the table must have same partition key but different sort key. Okay, so all the item with the same partition key are stored together and then sorted. So this is how your data will store. So something like this, you can see the artist, the song title. So artist, no one knows, no one knows. Song title are different. Okay. So I will show you how you can create a DynamoDB with. So you can go and create a table, give the name, and here you can pass the primary key, which is your partition key, and if you require sort key, it's optional again. If you want to use sort key, then only use it. Otherwise, go with the partition key. You have to pass the partition key in both the cases. But if your partition key is not unique, then go with the sort key. That is the second column. So if you are using this, let's say student underscore one, I'm creating a new table, roll number, that is number, and class, roll number and class. Now I will show you more property of this. Let me create the table first. Other properties will cover in some time. Now table is created. Now if you see here in the properties showing roll number and sort key, that is class. If I want to put an item, go to explore items, click on students, click on create item. Now you can see we have to pass two values instead of one. Both the values should be available. So let's put roll number as 1 and class A. Okay, other values we can add roll number 2, class A. Okay, now if I try to create roll number 2 and class A again, it will give me an error. The value already present. Okay, so you can introduce a new value, class B, something like this. So you can see we have two roll numbers with the same value, but because the class are different, it is acceptable. But the combination should be unique. The combination should be unique. Okay. Now till here it was a basic DynamoDB, which you are going to use on a daily basis. From this 5 slides, there is the advanced DynamoDB. This is a new feat, other in detail what we are going to learn. So just like your RDS, just like your S3, we have introduced cache to increase the performance of your database. Here in DynamoDB, we call it DynamoDB Accelerator. It is creating the cache, fully managed, highly available in memory cache, increase the performance 10 times, reduce the request time from millisecond to microsecond. No need to do any development, any major changes. Just go in the console and enable it by a couple of clicks. Okay, so it's simple. Your DynamoDB is there. There will be cache will be created. So this is your DynamoDB, and you are the user, and between there the cache will be created. Now coming to the pricing and pricing model of DynamoDB. Before that, let me show you in the console how DynamoDB, what are the pricing model. Okay, so this is a default setting right now. Now in default setting, you have read capacity of 5 read capacity unit and 5 write capacity unit. So per second you can write 5 record, you can read 5 records per second. Every second you can read and write 5 records or item. Okay. Now this is called provisioning one. You can see capacity model mode, that is provision. You are defining that only maximum 5 read and 5 write will be allowed. Okay, you can customize it. Okay, you can see provision one when we click on customization, and you can see 5 read and 5 write, it's there. And per month maximum you will get $3 charge with this capacity. Okay, you can increase this capacity, there is no problem with that. According to your requirement you can increase it. Mm, okay, so it is giving you approximate charges. But if you try to write more data, if you're writing 7 record per second, you will get an error. If you are writing more than 5 record, you will get an error. Okay, so it will not allow you to write more than 5 record if you have given the capacity. Okay, if you are define the capacity, it will not allow you to write more than that. Yeah, here let's say 50, you have defined 50. Now if you are trying to write more record than 50 per second, you will get an throttling error that you can't write more than 50. That is called provision one, and accordingly you will get charged. Okay, this model is called provision modeling. This modeling is called provision modeling. Okay, now there is another modeling is called on demand. Here you can see on demand. Okay, in the on demand we are not providing any capacity. Okay, in this we are not giving any on demand. In on demand we are not providing any capacity. We are asking Amazon to fulfill all the workload demand according to the use case. Just a second, guys. Okay, so for DynamoDB we have two options called provision one, where you are defining the read and write capacity, and other is on demand. In on demand we are not specifying any capacity. I'm not specifying any capacity. According to the workload, according to the system demand, Amazon will provide you the capacity. The- In provision capacity, the charges are fixed and it is quite cheap. Okay, you are not going to overspend on this because you have defined the upper limit that this is a maximum read and write it is allowed in your DynamoDB. But in on demand, if you want to go 1,000 read and write per second, Amazon will allow it. There is no upper limit. According to your demand, according to your workload, Amazon DynamoDB will scale up and scale down. Okay, but as you are not defining it, it is you have to pay a little more charges as compared to provision one. Okay, so simply billing by paying for the actual read and write for your application, manage and optimize your cost by allowing read and write capacity. Okay, this is called uh, capacity model of your DynamoDB. On demand, pay per request, cost, balance the cost and performance, no minimum capacity required. Pay more uh, per request than provision one. That's the only disadvantage. You have to pay a little more as compared to provision capacity. Use for new product in general. So most of the cases, according to company requirement, you can lock your DynamoDB read and write capacity, or if you are not sure that what will be the workload and how your system will work or your application will be interacting with DynamoDB, then you should go with the on demand. So in generally, I was using on demand. You have to pay a little more, but you know that you don't have to worry about the capacity. Okay. Then encryption is available. Again, if you want to encrypt your data, delete protection is available in the advanced features. Okay. Now there is one term called global table in DynamoDB. What is global table? It is just similar to read replica. It is just similar to read replica. If you go here, this is your table, right? Student one. It's in Mumbai, and if the same table, if I want to enable in Virginia, right now in Virginia there will be no DynamoDB table. You can see it's the table is not available. There is no table. Okay. If I want to avail this table in which is in Mumbai in Virginia as well, similar to read replica, you can go to the table, go to the settings. Here you can see the global tables. Just create a replica. It's a read replica of your DynamoDB. The name is called global table. So if I want to enable this thing, you can click here and just create the read replica. That's it. It will take 5 to 10 minutes to create the global table or read replica, but it works seamlessly. So if you update anything in this table in Mumbai, it will automatically replicate to Virginia, and even it's vice versa. Where if you update anything in Mumbai, Virginia, it will be updated in your Mumbai table as well. Okay, it will take a couple of minutes to create the global table. Okay, so if you are creating a global table, wait for a couple of minutes. You can see it is creating. After creation is done, the table will be available in your Virginia region. Okay. Now, if you are adding any record in this table, it will immediately replicate to Virginia, or deleting, it will immediately replicate to Virginia, and vice versa. If you are updating anything in Virginia, it will be automatically replicate to Mumbai region. That's a global table. Manage multi-master, multi-region replication, global distributed application based on DynamoDB stream, multi-region reduce multi-region redundancy for DR and HA, disaster recovery and highly availability. No application rewriting. You don't have to do any writing or develop any code. Amazon will manage everything here. Replication latency is under 1 second. If you are adding any item in Mumbai, it will be replicated to Virginia within seconds. Okay, that is a global table. Now, Amazon has recently introduced a new feature called Stream. What is Stream? If you are doing any update in your table, if you are adding a new item, if you are deleting an item, if you are updating any item, it will send a notification. Okay, it will put your information in Stream, and that Stream can be used to send a notification. Okay, so if you're doing any activity in your table, then that information will store for next 24 hours, and you can create an alert or notification, or you can perform some action on the basis of that what table has been deleted, what record has been deleted or updated. Okay, so it is just change in your table is captured and stored for 24 hours, that this changes has been applied to your table. That is the Dynamodb Stream. Backup and restoration similar to your RDS, full backup at any time. By default here, no, there is no automatic backups. In DynamoDB, there is no automatic backups are enabled by default. You have to, for that you have to enable the backups. Okay, you can take full backup anytime, zero impact on the performance, consistency within seconds, and return until delete, operate within the same region as the source table. Point in time recovery, protect against the accidental write and delete. You can have up to 35 days backup stored in the DynamoDB. Incremental backups you can enable, not enable by default. That's what I'm saying. Automatic backup, here it is called point in time recovery, but automatic backups are not enabled by default. You have to go and enable the automatic backups. So if you go here in your table, okay, backups, so you can see status is off. Here backup, instead of automatic backup, they call it point in time recovery. Instead of saying automatic backup, it is said point in time recovery. You can edit here, you can enable the automatic backup. Okay, so if you enable it, 35 days backup will be available for you, up to 35 days. Encryption, security, your data can be secure using KMS, using the encryptions. Site to site VPN connections are there, direct connection is available, so your data is secure when transferring from one point to another. You can enable IAM policy and role to secure your data access. So in AWS you can give the policy that which user should use which table and even which record. The level of security you can give, that is a fine grained access. CloudWatch and CloudTrail to monitor the performance of your DynamoDB as well as who is accessing your table. That's it all about your DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is fast, flexible, NoSQL service for all your applications that need consistent single digit millisecond latency at any scale. Data is stored in SSD. Your data is replicated across multiple availability zone in a single region. Eventual consistency by default, you can enable strong consistency. DynamoDB support ACID transactions. And point in time, okay. Then we cover the primary key. Okay, there are two type of primary key. The DynamoDB should have unique primary key. We have two type of primary key. One is called partition key and other is called sort key. It is a combination of partition key plus sort key. DynamoDB accelerator, it is basically cache on your DynamoDB, which will improve the performance of your database. Capacity, we have two type of capacity, on demand and provision one. Backup and restoration and point in recovery, that is your automatic backups. DynamoDB stream, if you are doing any record level changes, it will be captured and you can take some action accordingly. Global table, it's a read replica of your DynamoDB. You can enable read replica in different regions as per your convenience. Security, policy, KMS, encryption, monitoring is from CloudWatch and CloudTrail. That's it all about your DynamoDB. Let me check if the global table is created or not. It will take some time for the global table to be created. But second thing, if you are not deleting the table, it will not impact, you will not getting going to get any charge, because until unless you create the table, if you access the table, then only you are going to get charged. So you can see every time I read the table, I'm consuming zero point 0.5 read capacity. Okay, if you are not using the table, if a table is there already created and you are not using the table for 1 month, 2 months, then you are not going to get any charge. If you are using the table, if you are reading the data, then only you are going to accumulate the charges. That's the advantage of DynamoDB. It's serverless. You don't have to define underlying hardware. Any question on DynamoDB? So to summarize the whole thing we have learned till now, we have learned RDS. RDS is a OLTP database. Okay, RDS is OLTP database. Basically, they are used to read and write the data. Okay, so in that we have 6 engines: SQL, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, Aurora, MariaDB. Then for analyzing, you have Redshift in AWS. So if you find this type of terminologies like where you have to analyze the data, then you should go with Redshift. If you want to just read and write the data, that is OLTP. You should go with the RDS. Okay. If you have a word where you find no SQL, then you have DynamoDB. Okay. So Redshift, business intelligence or data warehousing. To increase the performance of your database, you can enable Elastic Cache. It comes in two flavors: memcached and Redis. So this is your example. Here we are concluding your RDS database. I have shown you how to log in into your RDS using my workbench. Even there is a document where you can use to log in through EC2 machine. Check it out. Okay, for practice, you have couple of tables available. You can load the data, flight data, Netflix data. It's already there. You can load this thing step by step to do in the assignment. You can do that. Even you have document that how you're going to upload the data to your workbench. Okay, so this is all for practice purposes. There, it is not going to be asked in exam or in interview in general. Okay, if you want to do the practice, the documents are available. Okay, so I'm stopping here. We are concluding RDS.